when this terrible pandemic struck, it changed the world and it changed sports. And when the first ones to come back was UFC, and when they came back, they put good fights on. I got a secret for you. So the boxing fans won't hear me say this. I'll make sure they're not listening. They put real competitive fights on. And that's the formula Dana White has. And listen, I get it. It's what I've been asking for 45 years in boxing, a national commission, a czar. We don't have that. You kind of have that. You have one guy who says, hey, I'm going to do what's best for the sport. In my sport, you don't have that. You get a bunch of promoters that are money hungry. That's not a knock. We all want to make money. But you got a bunch of promoters who are just looking out for their piece of property, only for their own promotional company and for their fighters. They don't care beyond that, how it affects the fans, how it affects, unless of course it comes to a point of, the financial point. But for the most part, they don't care how it affects the sport overall. Just their part of the industry. And so therefore, you'll see a lot of these, when boxing finally came back, what did you see? Let's be honest. You saw sparring sessions. You saw A's and B's. The A's going to win all the time. Who wants to go to that movie? I don't. I don't want to go to a movie that I know the ending. And that's what they were putting on. You go to a UFC movie, you don't know the endings. You don't know who's going to win. There's upsets. And there's the best fighting the best. And it doesn't matter what their records are. Oh, my God. In boxing, if you got a couple losses, it's like the old days when they used to say when a cop got in trouble, they sent him to an outpost in Siberia. You never see him anymore. He's walking a post in Siberia. I mean, that's the way it is with boxing, and it's been that way for years. Like, you got to protect the record, and it don't care about whether the guy develops or gets better or fights good fights or the fans get to see crappy fights. It don't matter. As long as you're building that record up, the networks love it. And that's what they're selling. But in your sport, well, Dana White is a genius. He's a genius. He shouldn't be a genius because it's not that hard to figure out. But the way it is compared to other combat sports, I guess he's a genius because he understands that it don't matter if they get losses. You know why? They're getting better. They're proving themselves that they belong at that level. They can compete at that level. And they become what they're supposed to become. They become the best fighter possible. And you know what? Sometimes in our sport, by trying to keep them undefeated, because the promoters just want to build up their own little cachet. Their little cachet of fighters. Their little stable. And so what do? They protect them at the risk of giving the fighter and the fan, but the fighter what they really need to become a better fighter. And you guys let them get what they need to become a better fighter. They can get a loss, and they become a better fighter, and then they still get right in the mix, right away, right back in there where they're fighting for titles. In boxing, it's like I said earlier, it's a death sentence. Oh, my God, I got a loss. Oh, gee. No. It's what you need sometimes to reach your destiny, your potential. And you guys, Dana White understands that. Listen, he's got an advantage. He's the capo, whatever they in those mob movies. He's a boss, right? Okay, he's the Don. He's the Don, and he can get away with it. And it's through the benefit of your sport. And that's why your sport has grown so much. And that's part of why, don't take this wrong now, but I'm always willing to take and give. I'm in it. But that's why you got my attention even more, because you were putting better fighters on. Not because you became Coca-Cola and you left Pepsi in the dust. Not because you were the more favorable place to be at the moment. No, I didn't do it for that. I just did it because you were putting better fights on. The truth is, right now, UFC is making better fights. So am I paying a little bit more attention there? Well, to that extent, yeah. If one sport is showing me sparring sessions and another one is showing me real fights, well, you know what? If I'm going to go with my grandson, who was here a little while ago, and I'm in Vegas visiting him, he's a beautiful boy, by the way, and I'm going to go to the zoo. I want to go to the zoo and see lions. And then if I want to see lions, and if we're going to say that's what we're seeing, and I'm giving a great, obviously appropriate respect to all fighters, they're lions. So if I'm going to go see lions fight lions, okay. But if I'm going to go, like I do with my grandson, to the zoo and see lions just get fed pieces of steak, I think I'm going to go watch the lions fight lions. And in boxing, it's been more like feeding time at the zoo. I'm sorry. A lot of people go, oh my God, he just said that? Yeah, I just said that. If you're going to give me one sport that the lions are eating prairie dogs and the other one the lions are facing lions, yeah, you know what? Call me crazy. I think I'm going over there, and we're going to watch that. And that's what's been happening, okay? That's what's been happening. And I love boxing. I'm never going to lose that love.